Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Ann P. Cervantes, and I am BSTM 3B, Operation Management and Strategies in Travel Industry, a modern concept. The historical development of tourism. Introduction. It has always been the greatest passion of mankind since existence. To discover what is beyond the places where they live, and to move and cross frontiers and to explore new environments. In addition to the historical development of travel mobility from the early ages to the present day, the breakthroughs, especially in the transportation, have made great contribution to the development of tourism. Every invention has become a milestone in the development. In modern times, the progress in information and communication technology, or ITC, has led to a number of fundamental changes in the tourism industry, resulting in highly diverse dynamic business models. Importance of tourism is evident from the fact that its influence truly penetrates politics, society, culture, and above all the economy. Indeed, tourism is the most vigorous growth is in global economy. According to the World Tourism Organization or UNWTO, tourism has boosted virtually interrupted growth over time, despite occasional shock, demonstrating the sector's strength and resilience. The new millennium has witnessed the continued growth of interest in how people spend their spare time, especially their leisure time and non-work time. Since the start of third millennium, international tourist arrivals has increased from 674 million in 2000 to approximately 1.5 billion in 2019. Likewise, international tourism receipts earned by destinations worldwide have surged from 495 billion in 2000 and reached to the 1.667 billion in 2019, based on UNWTO 2020 trends and economic prospect. UNWTO forecasts a growth of 3% to 4% in international tourist arrivals worldwide in 2020. Unfortunately, 2019 was the year of major shift in the sector with the collapse of Thomas Cook and of several low-cost airlines in the world. Furthermore, at the end of 2019, the world met the COVID-19 pandemic, and tourist industry deeply affected by it. Countries around the world closed their borders and introduced travel restrictions in response to the pandemic. According to UNWTO, international tourist arrivals dropped by 65% during the first half of the year 2020. The massive drop in international travel demand over the period January to June 2020 translate into a loss of 440 million international arrivals and about 460 billion US dollar in export revenues from the international tourism. Despite the gradual reopening of many destinations since the second half of May, the anticipated improvement in international tourism number did not materialize. In summary, 2020 has been an exceptional year for the tourism industry. According to the International Labour Organization or ILO, tourism industry directly provided 296 million jobs by 2019. However, after pandemic, 100 to 120 million direct tourism jobs are at risk. This means that one-third of those employed in tourism industry may lose their job by the end of 2020. The historical development of tourism. Tourism in antiquity. Early form of travel and types of journey. In the ancient era, The earliest forms of travel were that for trade, religion, migration, etc. Purposes and craftsmen like stone, carves, and construction master go from one place to another. Many sources consider that the trade development by Sumerian in 4000 BC was the beginning of the modern era of travel. Goldner and Ricci 2009. At that time, transport was limited to donkey rising spending pending the introduction of solid wheeled wagons drawn by oxen and onagers. A type of wild donkey most probably used by the Sumerian. Holloway 2009-21. Some 3 millennia BC, Babylonians and Egyptians traveled for business purposes rather than leisure. There is also evidence of significant movement of religious tourism. The sacred places like the Egyptian traveled to visit pyramids partly for religious reason but largely out of curiosity for the pleasure. Holloway 2009-21. Human beings had always moved from the place to place and traded with their neighbors, exchanging goods, skills, and ideas. Throughout history, Eurasia was crisscrossed with communication routes and paths of trade, which gradually link up to form what are known today as the Silk Road. Routes across both land and sea, along which silk and many other goods were exchanged between people from across the world. This vast network carried more than just merchandise and purchased commodities. However, the constant movement and mixing of population also brought about transmission of knowledge, ideas, culture, and beliefs. Eventually revealed tourism, which had profound impact on the history and civilization of the Eurasian peoples. It is believed that the Silk Road started more than 2,000 years ago. Although it was trade route, it was the longest travel road of people from east to the west. Some Silk Route sections were merely direction across trackless steppes or desert rather than visible paths. Those trade routes were officially established during the Chinese Han Dynasty, and all kinds of commodities, including silk, which was popular in West, were carried from China through India to Asia Minor, Egypt, Greece, and even to Britain. During the Roman Emperor Augustus' time, the travel between China and the West was very popular and silk was the most required commodity in Rome. Along with silk, assorted spices, furs, ceramics, paper, and gunpowder, which were invented by Chinese, brought to the Western world. One of the earliest recorded journeys for the purpose of tourism was around 1400 BC, that of Egyptian Queen Hatshepsut, resigned from Egypt to Punt, today land of Somalia. Intact and Goldner, 1984. The Phoenicians were great maritime people interested in travel on sea who had developed a high level of shipbuilding. They traveled in the Mediterranean Sea for the mainly trade purpose and then colonized a vast area in Europe. In the first millennium BC, the world changed greatly and empires became hostile to each other and transportation developed for military purposes. At that time, most common form of transportation was by the carriers and then by the horse-drawn wagons. Classical period start on the 8th-7th centuries BC and continued until the emergence of Christianity and the collapse of Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. As evidence, The first recreational and educational travels in the world were made in ancient era when people visited famous monuments and relics of ancient Egyptian culture, including the Step Pyramid of Saqqara, the, the Sphinx, and the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Greeks had similar tradition too. They traveled to Delhi from city-state in order to question the oracle. Each festival includes sacrifice and prayer to a single god. The games honored the deity by offering up musical and sporting competition. Around 500 BC, some travelers took to recording their travel observation. The first known historian Herodotus, 485 to 424 BC, traveled to Egypt, North Africa, the Aegean, Mediterranean, Black Sea, Italian, coastal town, and Mesopotamia, and wrote his memoir. In his memoir, he also mentioned in a very comprehensive way about early Olympic Games. The first Olympic Games organized 27 centuries ago, and sportsmen traveled mainly by ship rather than on land to participate to the game. The growth of Roman Empire 500 BC, 8300 gave impetus to particular form of holiday, and Roman devoted considered attention to travel for leisure and pleasure. They controlled many territories, and one of the major territories was ancient Egypt. Egypt, with its exotic landscape, monuments, and pyramid, was a tourist paradise. It was easy to reach from Italy by ship. Traveling throughout most of the Roman Empire was to a certain degree safe. Holiday travel became increasingly important due to the development of infrastructure. Good roads were built especially to connect the city of Rome to outlying areas. Around 300 AD to 380,000 kilometers of major road and 200,000 kilometers of small rural road existed. This facilitated not only the transport of soldiers and goods but also private travelers. Approximately at each 50 kilometers apart, inns were located, providing beds and food to the travelers. So, it was fairly easy and safe making for a day trip. Another service offered was tired horses were hired with fresh ones as well. Wealthy travelers seeking identification and pleasure benefited from the system. In the first century after Christ, there was a veritable touristic economy which organized travel for individuals and groups, provided information, and dealt with both accommodation and meals. The wealthy Romans sought relaxation in the seaside resort in the south or pastime on the beaches of Egypt and Greece. The classical world did not only have the budding holiday, but also developed an early form of summer health retreat in swanky thermal baths and luxury locations which were visited by rich urban citizens during the hot months. Something that had its origin primarily in healthcare soon mutated into holiday for pleasure and entertainment, which could also include gambling and prostitution. The decline of Roman Empire caused the degradation of many roads. Travel became more difficult, more dangerous, and more complicated. Travel in the Middle Ages. Travel period between 600 to 1000 AD was known as the Early Middle Ages. The ancient civilization in the Mediterranean coast of southern Europe, North Africa, and Anatolia were also culturally attracted by people at that time. The first tourism movement in Egyptian, Greek, and Roman civilization of the Mediterranean center were made for religious purposes, mainly visiting temples and sanctuaries, as well as travel for healthcare. During the early Middle Ages, travelers were going from one place to another either on foot or on horseback. When possible, people traveled by boat or horse-drawn vehicles. Starting from the 5th century AD, especially mass travel like military and religious purposes. The dirt roads, having rocky and bare earth surface, become more prominent and developed among the cities. Along with Christianity, the classical Italian cities were the most important places to be visited. Likewise, in Central Europe, going to the thermal baths became one of the first tourism movements. Religious travel to Mecca, birthplace of Prophet Muhammad and where Islam was born, became important after the death of founder in 632 of Muslims started to perform Hajj in Mecca. This was the most well-known religious travel for Muslims in Middle Ages, as Muslim traveler Batuta 1165 to 1240 who educated Islamic law undertook journeys from Morocco to perform pilgrimage to the Mecca. Comparable to those of Marco Polo, traveled over 70,000 miles in 25 years, visiting China, India, north of Volga River, today's Russia, as well as the countries of North Africa and the Middle East. In Europe, the Middle Ages, or the medieval period, is considered between the 5th and 15th century. It began with the fall of the Western Roman Empire in BC 476 and merged into the Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. However, as the Roman Empire collapsed in 5th century, roads fell into disuse and barbarians made it unsafe to travel. But gradually road safety was established and people's travel instinct revived again. With the Middle Ages, the mobility of communities increased. Travel were traders, students, pilgrims, even beggars and robbers. During the 11th and 12th centuries, it became very important for students to travel in the name of education. The first universities were opened in England, France, Spain, and Portugal in the Holy Roman Empire in order to accelerate urbanization in Europe and to study the develop the upper discipline, especially in the fields of theology, law, and medicine. These medieval universities were the most important training centers in Italy, Bologna, 1088, Modena, 1175, in England, Oxford, 1996, Cambridge, 12,009, in France, Paris, Montpellier, 12,020, in Europe. One of the most important events in the Middle Ages that required masses of people to move from Europe to the Middle East was called the Crusades. The Crusades were great military expeditions undertaken by the Christian nation of Europe for the purpose of rescuing the holy places in Palestine from the Muslims. Of course, the movement of Crusades from their origin to Palestine directly affected the cultural, social, and political lives of the city along the route. First Crusade began in 1095 by Pope II. The target was to reach Jerusalem. There were 8 crusades still 1272, within 177 years, hundreds of thousands of people traveled from Europe to the Middle East. On their routes, they were accommodated and fed. They even brought infectious disease such as tuberculosis, type, typhoid fever, typhus, and yellow fever to the communities they came across. From the 15th century onwards, while the rich class primarily traveled for cultural and recreational purposes, the poor were mostly traveling for pilgrimage since there were no modern and technological vehicles. These journeys were made for the rich on horse and horse carriage rides, while poor could not afford the expenses of a horse and carriage, a travel on the foot. As religious belief became more and more conscious among the communities, the Jew and the Christian traveled to Jerusalem and Muslim Mecca and Medina to pilgrimage in groups, and it could be regarded as the beginning of mass tourism. The Renaissance of generally accepted to the start in Italy. Italian cities having the characteristic location between Western Europe and Mediterranean Sea became important commercial centers. This wealth helped sustain the political and social changes that were occurring at that time and the development of fine arts. For example, before industrial revolution's transition from work beach to workshop took places in Italian cities, another type of travel was took place in the pre-industrial period in exploratory travel, which was predominantly aimed at economic gain. There were many people throughout history who had the spirit of an adventurer and decided to explore the unknown. Marco Polo, Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, the Turkish travels, Piraeus and Elivio Salevi were great pioneers for discovery and for finding new places. At that time, the bourgeois and aristocrats of Europe also traveled on regular commercial ships in the Mediterranean coast. The Grand Tour. In Europe, in the late 16th century, the families sent their sons abroad as means of education, and it was named the Grand Tour. A new form of tourism developed as a direct outcome of freedom and quest for learning heralded by the Renaissance. Under the reign of Elizabeth in England, young men seeking position at court were encouraged to travel the continent to finish their education. Their practice was soon adopted by other European countries and eventually became customary for the education. The Grand Tour as a term was first used in 1670. The Grand Tour was extremely exclusive and indispensable form of education for young Europeans in the higher rank of society, especially for English noble children. Children were generally accompanied by tutors for guidance. Travelers carried little money for fare and robbery. Instead, they took letters of credit from the London banks, which they then presented in major cities. Originally, the Grand Tour was expected to last about 3.5 years. 6 months of traveling, the 3 years of living abroad, allowing gentlemen to absorb the culture they were visiting to improve their language skills. The most popular destinations were France and Italy. From Paris, travelers usually proceeded to the Alps and then by boat on the Mediterranean to Italy. They would usually visit Rome and Venice, but their tour may have included Spain, Portugal, Germany, Eastern Europe, the Balkans, and the Baltics, it was more popular from 1840 and onwards owing to the development of large-scale rail transportation and ended when the outbreak of Napoleonic Wars stopped most foreign travel. Over the course of the 17th and 18th century, after the end of schooling for 3 months, thousands of British, German, French, and even Russian traveled around the continent in search of the roots of art, culture, and Western civilization. From the second half of the 18th century, some North and South Africa also joined the Grand Tour. The 19th century and the effect of Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution impact on technology and the improvement of transportation. Technology opened up leisure travel and greater number of people, and the emergence of tourism industry made process of traveling much more organized. The railways in Britain, tourism in Britain and later in Europe and North America allowed greater access to destination at greater speed. Cooper, 2012-7. When the characteristics of industrial society were examined, in the second half of the 18th century in England, due to the influx of Puritanism, resting was regarded as luxury and working was regarded as virtue. So, from the second half of the 18th century, the working hours were getting longer and leisure time and vacation possibility were almost none. Until the second half of the 19th century in England, the USA, the French factory workers was working 70 hours a week and 12 hours a day. In this period, the bosses used the advantages of the industrialization and due to increasing trade volume on the global scale. They became richer and achieved a new class and higher order in the society. This new class industrial bosses start to imitate the aristocrat society and to embrace their leisure activities, become socially acceptable and gain prestige. This structural change and industrialization in the economical life, except bosses with significant wealth and the income levels, also created new groups of people with high financial prosperity such as intermediary dealers, brokers, and accountants in the society. During the Industrial Revolution in England, Robert Owen did the most important work to protect workers' rights. Owen lived between the years 1771-1858, and his reformist approach is that was carried out for workers were accepted for after lengthy discussion. From 1819 and from 1819 and onwards, according to the decision taken for the cotton factories in England, 9 years and odds workers were forbidden to the work in factories, and for the 9 to 16 age group, the working hours were reduced to 8 hours per day. Over the next few years, Robert Owen developed political views that result in being described him the father of socialism. In the 1830s, first trade unions and trade chambers were established in England. Thanks to protection trends for workers that Owen had a major influence on. Despite such improvements in worker rights in the 19th centuries, it is clear since today that this great misery of workers, especially those younger than 18 years, are still going on in many undeveloped countries in the world. However, the industry and commercial life have been brought prosperity and welfare for the developed Western countries' people. In the industrial societies, not only the working hours of people descended but to the desired level, but their lifestyle was their diversified Their rest and leisure time got longer and they could spare time for vacation. When examined with a long-term perspective, the purchasing power has increased throughout the world together. With technological development such as ICT, the consumption habits of people has changed and tourism has started to play a vital role. A result, the use of steam machine for both in sea and land, new inventions such as train, has led to development of communities and tourism. Thomas Cook, the world's best known name in tourism. Thomas Cook, 1808-1892, was the first English businessman and is the world's best known name in tourism. The conducted tours of Thomas Cook are considered the beginning of organized package tours of today. Throughout his life, Thomas Cook worked as a Baptist preacher, carpenter, furniture maker, publisher, political advocate, and travel organizer. A former Baptist preacher, Thomas Cook was a religious man who believed that most Victorian social problems were related to alcohol and that the lives of working people would be greatly improved if they drank less and became better educated. In 1841, he arranged a special train to take 571 people from their city and Leicester to the town called Loughborough in England for an anti-alcoholic conference and charged each person for 1 shilling round-trip travel including brand entertainment, afternoon tea, and food. As a result, he did not make any profit from this organization. During the next summers, Thomas Cook arranged a succession of trips between Leicester, Nottingham, Derby, and Birmingham on behalf of local temperance societies and Sunday schools. His first commercial venture took the place in the summer of 1845 when he organized a trip of Liverpool. This was a far more ambitious project than anything he had previously attempted, and he made his preparation with greatest thoroughness. Not content with simply providing tickets at low price 15 shillings for the class passenger and 10 shillings for regular class, Cook also published a handbook of journey. This 60 pages booklet was a forerunner of the modern holiday brochure. By the end of 1850, having already visited Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, Thomas Cook began to contemplate foreign trips to Europe, the United States, and the Holy Land. Thomas Cook and his son John Mason Cook started Thomas Cook State and the Holy Land and Son Company and opened the first high street level agency in Fleet Street, London. They and sold regular domestic and international system tours. He introduced the first time voucher hotel coupons and travelers check check system to his customer with fixed prices for the accommodation at selected hotels in all major cities. He introduced first time a travel newspaper named Excursionist and then he changed the name into the more upmarket Travelers Gazette magazine to better reflect the company cliente. In 1855, Thomas Cook arranged the personally conducted the first continental tour to Brussels in Belgium, Cologne, Heidelberg, Strasbourg, and finally to Paris. In fact, this was the first complete holiday package known today comprising travel accommodation and food. Thomas Cook's Thomas Cook passed away in 1892 and his son John Manson Cook also died afterwards. The travel company was inherited by John's three sons. The company started to interest dark tourism, which was organizing tours to locations with battle sites and places connected with death. The visitor went to Belgium and France battlefields aftermath of the First World War. This program was advertised in the Travel Gazette. The company provided two forms of travels, either luxury travel with train and more popular tours by motor cars from Paris. In 1927, Thomas Cook and Son organized the first personally conducted air tour from New York to Chicago to watch Dempsey Tunney heavyweight boxing contest. Today, Thomas Cook is one of the world's leading leisure travel groups. This name made the history of travel. Today, Thomas Cook Group is a global company and almost everybody is aware of his this name. Travel are thousands of travel agencies that carry his name. Development in transportation are the millstone in tourism. Transportation system always play a vital role in development of a country or a region. Vitalization, spread development, vitalization, spread development, and of transportation system have the most important influence that contributes to the progress of society in tourism, agriculture, in industry, commerce, administration, defense, education, and health. In other words, transportation networks are a reflection of national and regional development. Indeed, tourism cannot be mentioned without transportation. The transportation in tourism was earlier provided by usually horse-driven vehicles. Later, in the 19th century, with the invention of steam engines, the mode of transport completely changed. Speed and time factors become important. Transportation in tourism means movement of people from where they live to where touristic products are presented to them. Tourist travel and tourism experiences and the idea of tourism products start with transportation. The innovation in transportation, new technologies, the infrastructure arrangements accelerate the development of tourism and dynamism. Each of the development in transportation has been milestone for the tourism industry. Since the Industrial Revolution until today, three major inventions can regarded as milestone in tourism. The expansion in transport has caused travel costs to fall. These developments are respectively 1. Railway transportation, 2. Automotive industry, and 3. Air transportation. Railway transportation. After the invention of steam engine, the mode of transport completely changed and railway transport gradually became operational. It first started in 1825 in the United Kingdom and spread throughout Europe, America within 25 years. Since the start of the first steam train, transportation has been faster and easier than ever before, and costs have fallen rapidly. With the application of the steam power to the locomotive and pulling the ability of several wagons on the rails, the railway network spread throughout the world in a short period of time. Locomotives on the railway were hauling trains up to 80 tons and speed of 25 kilometers 15 miles per hour. It was great spread for the period of time from 1830 to 19,000. The USA was the first country in the world to establish a systematic rail network in order to connect the country from east to west and from north to south. USA extracted more coal and iron ore from any other country in the world, produced more steel and laid more railways. By 1870, it was possible to cross America on the transcontinental from Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast or from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic coast by train. Before the Transcontinental Railroad, the trade from New York City to San Francisco could take in just half a and half days. It could take in just 3.5 days. The Orient Express was long-distance train first ruined in 1883 that connected London to Istanbul. The complete route was London, Paris, Munich, Vienna, Budapest, Zagreb, Belgrade, Sofia, and finally Istanbul. It was a fabled journey and several movie films were made about it. Londres, Paris, Constantinople. Paris, Munich, Vienna, Budapest, Belgrade, Constantinople. Orient Express, Paris and Bucharest. Southeastern Railway, London, Chatham, Dover Railway. Chemins de Fer du Nord and de LS de France, Londres, Paris, Constantinople. This new invention rapidly shortened by long distance with speed and decreased the cost of transportation and had been the most important supporter of the modern tourism. Advances in the transportation kept pace with the spread of American nation. After 19,000, the use of steel wagon instead of wooden wagon made rail travel less dangerous and more comfortable by switching to a sleeping wagon. There's a below table. There's a table. Hello. Automotive industry. The most important reason why the railway system decreased over the time was the widespread use of automobile. Increase in the number offer more flexibility in the way of travel. Although the first experimental steam-powered vehicles were built in the 7th century and 18th century, the petrol-powered car was the first invented by George Brayton in 1872 in the United States. In Europe, in 1885, German engineer Carl Benz invented an internal combustion engine powered by gasoline. Later, a small number of automobiles were manufactured in different countries, but at the beginning of the 20th century, automobile was brought by the rich people only. American engineer named Henry Ford built a simple, reliable, and affordable gasoline-powered automobile in 1896, which consisted of light metal frame fitted with 4 vehicle wheels and powered by 2-cylinder, 4-horsepower gasoline engine. Later, Ford decided to manufacture cars in series and he put all his concentration on this project. On October 1, 1908, the first production Model T Ford car was completed. This was the revolution for the American societies. At the beginning of 1908, there were fewer than 200,000 on the road. By 1913, 1,000 cars were being manufactured per day by serial band production. Between 1908 to 1927, Ford built some 15 million Model T cars. It was the longest production run for any automobile model in history till 1972. Henry Ford, who played a major role in making automobile an essential tool all over the world with his engineering talent and sharp intelligence in the field of businesses, wrote in his memoir, "Because he was making a lot of noise, scaring the horses and disrupting the traffic. If I parked my car anywhere in the city, it was crowded and people were trying to get into it." When it came to the 1920s, Henry Ford started mass production with the T type of the car. Prices became cheaper. A year later, there were 9 million cars in use. This number has tripled in 10 years. Within a few years, the car was no longer a luxury. It became a necessity. The automobile removed loneliness, accelerated life, and opened up a new opportunities for leisure. It gave people a new freedom. It created new and important sub-industry branches. It provided people with new jobs. It encouraged the construction of new roads in all countries. It created serious competitions against the railways. Automobile Automobiles have played an important role in tourism by reaching its present by level spreading to all regions, having a human-focused structure and increase of short-term tourism movements. The increase of private cars and their use in holiday tourism has led to organization and accommodation facilities in the road route. The emergence of new accommodation facilities such as caravans and camping. Toscay, 1989-97. To 1997. For this reason, it would not be wrong to say the second important milestone for tourism is automotive industry and spread rapidly all over the world. Relevant data are shown in table below. Air transportation. In the modern tourism industry, it is generally accepted that air transportation is the third milestone of world tourism development. Air transportation has shown great progress in the short period of time. The first scheduled passenger airline service in history occurred on January 1, 1914 in the USA. The flight took place between the cities, St. Petersburg and Tampa. Flying time was only 23 minutes and the pilot was Tony Janius. This service only lasted 4 months. But in that time, it opened the doors for later transcontinental flight. Post-World War I, the aviation industry really started to grow and many commercial airlines began operating, some of which are still connected to today's major carriers. The Contact Airmail Act of 1995, also known as the Kelly Act, directly contribute to the growth of airlines, and the Air Commerce Act of 1926 gave government the responsibility for promoting air commerce. The first commercial air routes were initiated by Air Transport and Travel, the forerunner of British Airways. The flight was from London to Paris in 1919. In the same year, a regular service was introduced in Germany between Berlin, Leipzig, and Weimar. The first public tour by air was organized by the Thomas Cook Company in 1939 between the USA cities of New York and Chicago. Later on, special plane trips from London to certain cities in France and in Nice and Cannes were carried out. with the development of aircraft design techniques and the widespread use of airplanes during the war, aircraft and technical workforce that have been inactive since the end of war have shifted to the civil aviation sector and have begun to offer airline services at very affordable prices, and increased comfort has been influential in the development of tourism and the growth of tourism volume. Murphy 1885 to 19. Heavy and super heavy bombers like the B-29 and Avro Lancaster were easily converted into commercial aircraft, and the DC-3 was ideal for longer commercial flights. The transition from propeller airlines to jet aircrafts had revolutionized aviation and tourism accordingly. British made the Havilland Comet was the world's first commercial jetliner and made its first flight on July 27, 1949, and the first commercial flight in May 1952. Where we have the look we have to look the aviation in the name of tourism development. Globally travel businesses start in the 1970s when large jetliners start carrying a lot of passengers. So travel agency and tour operators start to by organize tours by air transport. First charter flight operations were made in the Dakota type of aircrafts by 32 to 34 crafts from London Corsica. Non-scheduled charter flights reaching to a certain passenger capacity threatening scheduled operator. Finally, scheduled airlines offered a number of incentives like group of lower promotional fares in order to compete with the charter operators. Today, air transportation in a modern world is a part of our life. Businesses and leisure travelers are enjoying the ability of travel quickly and time, and transportation has managed in the past few decades to gain very significant share in tourism market. Schedule in airlines offer many routes with safe, quick, reliable, and comfortable trips. Terminal facilities and ground services are lately much more advanced. Overall, it is estimated that around 25% of international tourism uses air transportation, while 86% of Europeans use it for trips outside of Europe, compared 2008. 419, 423. In 2016, 3.8 billion people traveled by air, and IATA expects that number to double over the course of 20 years. According to the provisional data released by International Civil Aviation Organization o ICAO, the number of air departures across the globe increased by 38 million, with airlines transporting in 2018 a total of 4.3 billion passengers compared to 4 billion in 2017. Another aspect of change in aviation technology is the development of long-haul aircrafts. As airlines switched from smaller aircraft into Boeing 747 in early 1970s, travel operation had to concentrate on more dense market. This means the aircraft needs to make fewer stops on refueling and direct flights. Then, two wide-body aircrafts, A340, was introduced in 1993, followed by B-77 in 1995. The range of new type of aircrafts are continuing to increase. Apart from Airbus A340 and Boeing 77, shape of travel, new aircraft has already changed the shape of travel. These are A380 introduced in 2008, which is the largest passenger aircraft in service, and Boeing 787 introduced in 2011. B787, unlike most medium-sized aircraft, it is able to fly very long distance. For instance, B787 and 9 Dreamliner modern flights from one airport to other non-stop, 13.950 kilometers, 13.950 kilometers, the year 2010, 71. Without doubt, in the near future, more sophisticated and new types of aircrafts will be in use. There is a general option that tourism expand more when there are better transportation systems. Consequently, transportation is needed for tourism promotion and tourism development, maintenance of the existing roads, construction of more roads, rail, track, sea and the air transportation, and the construction of airports and enhancement of international flight operation are the most important factors. Information and Communication Technology (ICT) in tourism. Tourism and technology go hand in hand together. Indeed, technological progress during the last 3 decades has revolutionized work patterns of tourism. The development and application of computerized systems has accelerated rapidly and enabled tourism and travel sector to use a wider range. More importantly, the development of power personal computers or PCs in the 80s provided users with reliable and affordable computing. Buhalis 2023. Information and Communication Technology or ICT refers to the technology that provide access to information through telecommunication. It is similar to information technology (IT), but focuses primarily on communication technologies. This includes the internet, wireless network, cell phones, and the other communication mediums. ICT entered into our daily lives in the 1970s and is a revolution in the tourism industry. In early days, computers were capable of processing massive data and supporting hundreds of terminals. Several major applications are based on the computing and telecommunication technologies to offer services in the tourism industry. Undoubtedly, computer reservation system or the Central Reservation System (CRS) has had the most crucial contribution of ICT to the to the tourism industry since late 70s. CRS was originally designed to operate by airline for ticketing and booking and later extended for the use of travel agency. Now, the system is operated by tourist producers such as airline, hotel, car rental, travel agency, and tour operators. The CRS have experienced a great expansion affecting almost all tourism enterprise. In the early 1980s, CRS system emerged to become another system called Global Distribution System or GDS, incorporating in a comprehensive range of service and products and providing a global distribution infrastructure for the entire tourism industry. CRS and GDS are the most important facilitator of exchange in tourism industry before the arrival of internet. The premier GDS system are Amadeus, Galileo, Apollo, Sabre, and WorldSpan. They are owned and operated by major airlines as joint venture and hotel car rental companies, travel agency, and tour operators. Travel agency and tour operators are increasingly using GDS system to search for the best rates for their customer and make airline and hotel reservation. In the third and final stage began with the widespread use of the internet in the tourism industry at the end of 1990s. In the respect, travel agency and tour operators easily reach the final customer, increase productivity, improve management system, and reduce labor costs. The internet has able final customer to easily access the product. In long run, internet caused by considerable customer loss for travel agency and tour operators because of direct entry of system by the users. Development in information and communication technology or ICT have primarily lifted economic boundaries and have resulted in radical changes in marketing strategies and system of distribution channels. Emerging communication technology in the term of speed in the communication quality in terms of product has brought many changes in tourism from supply to the distribution product and services. While there are integration and the international tourism industry system, difference and e-commerce models like B2B businesses to business, B2C business to customer, and B2G business to government have been emerged. In this context, when it is examined from the point of view of travel agency and tour operators, it will be difficult for them to be able to maintain continually in the market, and in this regard, they should maintain new market strategies, work on brand image, innovation, and need to be known as specialized travel agencies. Today, the influence of ICT in tourism organizations is dominant. Due to the effect in the modern tourism industry, the information and communication technologies should be regraded in a new milestone after three milestones which were mentioned above. With the use of ICT, customer tourists are searching the best available prices and they expect the best possible return to the money and time they have spent. Conscious consciousness people conscientious people are truly using ICT and can obtain more healthy information about tourist product and services. Those can make bookings as they wish. Customers who have detailed information about touristic product and services can choose the most appropriate product from the site. Before booking on the internet, they act independently and are able to make last-minute changes in their travel programs, combine different product and service according to their own taste. The effect of information and communication technology (ICT) on the tourist profile has reflected to the tourism companies. Through ICT, tourism companies can have powerful collaboration with the domestic and international companies without any cost. In addition, ICT can enhance the competition between the tourism industry by expanding the research work needed to prepare specific products to target markets. Accordingly, as accordingly, as will be seen in the later chapters, ICT has significantly changed in new business models for travel agency and the tour operators of the tourism distribution system Buhalis 2003-79. In the early 1980s, tour operators realized that they had to capitalize on ICT and use more effective distribution method. They wanted to increase their productivity, improve their holiday capacity management, reduce the labor cost of telephone operators, and provide a better service to both travel agency and consumers. Consequently, tour operators developed direct link with travel agency via video text network. This enabled travel agencies to have interactive access to operators' reservation systems and allowed them to search their databases to inquire availability of package and to make bookings. Digitex network also benefited travel agency since they provided the opportunity to for low-cost bookings, improve communication, increase the speed of booking producers, and improve the customer service. ICT are also critical for the distribution of tour operators packages. Travel agencies search to operator database and make bookings through video text booking. As illustrated in above of table comparing arrivals in the years 2005-2019, it observed that within 14 years, almost two-fold increase was recorded. On tourist arrivals in 2019, Europe is leading with a market of share of 50 and 7%. The market share of the Asia Pacific region is at 24 and 8% comes the second. The direction of international tourist trend is generally formed developed countries to developing countries, from America to Europe, from North to West Europe and to Mediterranean region, and from industrial region and to seacoast. World tourism movement in the 21st century. Tourism had rapid development since the second half of the 20th century. In the first 10 years of the 21st century, tourism industry has become major force the economic growth of each country. This industry is growing faster than the global economy. So, tourists have become an important source of income and countries, and their policies have started to concentrate more in the tourism industry. The tourism is a forefront of the other industries that is changing day by day, constantly renewing its method by system, developing the current economies, and progressively moving forward. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council (WTTC), in the 2019 economic impact of tourism is supporting 1 is to 10 job in of 319 million worldwide and generating 10.4% USD 8.8 trillion of the world GDP. One is the 5 new jobs was created by tourism industry over the last 5 years. According to the World Tourism Organization UNWTO highlights in the year of 2000, the number of international tourist arrivals worldwide was around 690 million, 1.184 billion in the 2015, and it's estimated that in the 2030 the figure will hit 1.8 billion. Conclusion. In today's modern world, we are all witnessing the technology is developing at an unprecedented rate. As a result of this rapid development of technology, we often take things for granted. However, mankind had great struggles to reach today's modern world. In the early ages, as a result of human curiosity and the desire to get out of the environment they had lived, they domesticated horses and learned how to ride horse and carried heavy loads, which enabled them to see around. The next stage was invention of the wheel, and with it used two-wheeled or four-wheeled vehicles pulled by oxen were the first means of transportation. Since the beginning of human history, human beings have also sought ways to travel in the seas, and mankind this time started to sail using the wind power. By doing so, they discovered new lands and continents. The greatest development in regards to tourism was the invention of steam engine. The steam engine was developed over a period of about 800 years. Steam power was in a short period started to use on locomotives on cars. Afterward, the most important development in tourism in the history of mankind is the development in air transportation and the introduction of aircrafts in commercial aviation. Today, with its speed and time gaining advantages, airport transport is dominating tourism. So, all of this innovation led to the development of tourism. Tourism is growing faster than global economy. In 1950, international tourist arrivals were 25 million. In 1970, 160 million. In 2000, 702 million. And the World Bank, the International Civil Aviation Organization or ICAO, United Nations World Tourism Organization or UNWTO, the World Travel and Tourism Council or WTTC expectation are 2020 1.4 billion and in 2030 1.8 billion tourists, 1.4 billion in 2020 and in 2030 1.8 billion tourists will travel globally. As stated in the introduction part of this chapter, due to COVID-19 pandemic 2020 has been an exceptional year for the tourism industry. The number of international tourists, tourism revenue, and total tourism employment had sharp drops and 55 to 65% decreases estimated. However, since the tourism industry faced many crisis in the past. I strongly believe that maximum effort will be made by the world government and by the international organization in the order to overcome pandemic. Tourism can stimulate economic growth, create decent job and business opportunities, helping millions of people to escape poverty and improve their livelihoods. Tourism is also one of the most resilient sector in crisis situation and can further act the catalyst for environmental and cultural protection and strengthen peace of reconciliation in the world. Tourism is a global phenomena and has no borders. All participants of the tourism industry, stakeholders at its destination, especially tour operators and travel agencies, have great responsibility for ensuring the growth of tourism. Chapter 2: Tourism Essential. Introduction. Tourism today is a major force in the world's economy and is a global activity which represents a socio-economic phenomena specific to modern life and considered worthy enough to serious academic importance. Over the decades, tourism has experienced continued growth of deepening diversification to become one of the fastest growing economic sectors in the world. Modern tourism is closely linked to development and encompasses of growing number of new destinations. This dynamic have turned tourism into a key driver to socioeconomic progress. Today, the business volume of tourism equals or even surpasses that the oil export, food products, or automobiles. Tourism has become one of the major players in international commerce and represents at the same time one of the main income sources for many developing countries. This growth goes hand in hand with a increasing diversification and competition among destinations. This global spread of tourism in industrial, industrialized and developed states has produced economic and employment benefit in many related sectors, from construction to agriculture and telecommunications. 2019 was another year of strong growth for the global tourism, reinforcing its role as a driver of economic growth and job creation. According to World Travel and Tourism Council report, the tourism industry experienced 3.5% growth in 2019, outpacing the global economy growth of 2.5% for 9 consecutive years. However, as it was mentioned in Chapter 1, the end of 2019, the world met the COVID-19 and pandemic outbreak has brought the whole world to a standstill. Tourism has been worst affected of all major industries. The pandemic caused uncertainty in the future decision about tourism. The World Health Organization or WHO keeps in close contact with government and related organizations and keeps up with the development in the world epidemic. The origin of meaning of tourism. Tourism was derived from the word "torn", which was used by the Saxons, who were one of the early settlers in Britain. Torn in Saxon language can be translated roughly as going out, which intention to return. Indeed, in the 12th century, the villagers who had trips for leisure were called tons. The etymological root of tourism is based on Latin word turnus or tournere, and in Greek turnus, which express the turning action. The words touring and tour are also derived from the same root. The word tour expresses a circular movement. In Western language, tour refers to an action and changing place for the purpose of business and entertainment. In the 17th and 18th centuries, British young noblemen had a traditional trip to France and Italy to complete education, and it was called a grand tour. So the tour was first used in those centuries. When the word tour and the suffix are combined, it means the action of movement around a circle. So it is simply means a journey. When tour and the affix is are combined, is denotes one of the perform a given action. So the person who makes such a journey can be called tourist. However, not all researchers agree with the above explanation as initiated by Arthur Howlett, Howlett 1961. Tourism comes from the Semitic word tur, which refers to journey in the Old Testament. When Prophet Moses with his people left Egypt following Exodus route to Canaan lands in today's Palestine. Definition of tourism. Tourism being a very complex phenomenon and a multidisciplinary in nature as far as the subject matter is concerned. Tourism, in simple explanation, is a form activity undertaken during someone's free time. Therefore, person is away from his workplace and from his usual environment. Again, in simply word, tourist is the person who engage in tourism. Immediately, some questions come in our mind. Can we consider shopping a tourism activity? Or is the shopper a tourist? How far travel can be counted as tourism activity? Is the person who goes to work in the morning and returns home in the evening accepted as a tourist? After all goes to work in the morning and returns home in the evening, accepted as a tourist. After all these questions, not surprisingly, the definition of tourism has wider concept and it is not an easy task. Tourism has been considered work and serious business endeavor, and tourism authorities and academics. One of the first attempts of defining tourism was that of Professor Hansecker and Kraft and Berney University in 1942. They said that tourism should be defined as a sum of the phenomena and relationship arising from the travel and stay of non-resident, insofar as they do not lead the permanent resident and they are not concerned to any earning activity. According to L.J. Liconish, tourism embraces all movement of people outside their community for all purposes except migration and regular daily works. In 1937, the League of Nations had recommended adopting of the definition of tourist as one of the travel for a period of at least 24 hours in a country other than in which he or she usually resides. The principal weakness in the definition is that it ignores the movement of domestic tourists. Later, the United Nations Conference on International Travel and Tourism, held in 1963, considered recommendations put forward by the International Union of Official Travel Organization, later the United Nations World Tourism Organization or UNWTO, and agreed to use the term visitor, and it covers two classes of visitors. 1. Tourists, who are classified as a temporary visitor staying at least 24 hours, whose purpose could be categorized as leisure, whether for recreation, health, sport, holiday, study, religion, business, family, mission, or meeting. Number 2. Excursionists, who are classified as temporary visitor staying for less than 24 hours, including cruise travelers but excluding travelers in transit. Holloway 2007. The definition of tourism is important to understand the nature, scope, impact, and magnitude of the word tourism clearly, and definition must be specific. Tourism is a temporary activity and visiting a destination outside of the places where the individuals reside and work, participate in the activities carried out during their stay, and take advantage of the facilities created to meet their needs. Cooper, 2008-11. Since tourism is multidisciplinary field of study, it can accommodate different perspectives in its system since there is no predetermined assumption in tourism. Instead, we need to understand the broader issues, factors, and reciprocal relationship between the different components of the system that affect tourism. Gilbert, 1990-73. Tourism is a very complex system and travel experience which connects at least one distinctive principle of the individual businesses, organization, and venues. Lieber, 1990. In 1976, the Tourism Society of England definition was tourism is the temporary short-term movement of people and to the destination outside the places where they normally live and work and their activities during the stay at each destination. Burkhardt and Medlick in 1981 highlighted five main characteristics in tourism. Tourism arises from the movement of people to and their stay in various destinations. There are two elements in all tourism: the journey to the destination and stay, including activities at the destination. The journey and the stay take place outside the normal place of residence and work, so that tourism gives the rise to activities which are distinct from those of the resident and working population of the places through which tourists travel and in which they stay. The movement of destination is a temporary, short-term character with the intention to return home within a few days, week, or months. Destinations are visited for purposes other than taking up permanent residence or employment remunerated from within the places visited. Pages and Connell, 2009. When all of the above definitions are examined, there are very little differences. The United Nations (UN), the World Tourism Organization (WTO), both recommended appropriate definition of tourism in the International Conference of Travel and Tourism held in Ottawa in 1991. In this conference, definition of tourism was recorded as the activities of a person traveling outside of his/her usual environment for less than a specific period of time, and the main purpose of travel is other than exercise of an activity remunerated from the place visited. Technical definition of tourism. Technical definition of tourism are commonly used by organizations seeking to define the population to be measured, and there are three principal features which normally have to be defined. Key technical issue and defining tourism are: purpose of travel, the type of travel: business traveler, holiday maker, someone visiting friend and relative, or someone visiting for other reason. The time dimension involved in the tourism visit, which requires a minimum and a maximum period of time spent away from the home area and the time spent at the destination. In most cases, this would involve a minimum stay of more than 24 hours away from home and a maximum of less than a year. Those situations where tourists may or not be included as tourists, such as cruise ship passenger, those tourists in transit at a particular point, and embarkation, departure, and excursionists who stay less than 24 hours at the destination. About travel distances, for instance, in the United States in 1973, the National Resources Review Commission established that a domestic tourist would be one travels at least 50 miles or 80 kilometers one way. That was confirmed by the U.S. Census Bureau, which defined tourists 11 years later as round trip of at least 100 miles, approximately 160 kilometers. However, the Canadian government defined it as a journey of at least 25 miles or 40 kilometers from the boundaries of the tourist home community, while the English Tourism Council proposed a measure of not less 20 miles or 36 kilometers and 3 hours journey time away from home for a visit to constitute a leisure trip. So consistency has by no means yet been achieved. Halfway 2009 and 7. Consequently, we should emphasize seven important features regarding the definition of tourism. These are: 1. The journey and stay take place outside the normal place of residence and work. 2. There are three elements in all tourism activities: travel to destination, to stay in the destination, and to participate in activities. 3. Journey and stay take place outside the usual environment or normal place of residence. Tourists experience different activities and the destination. 3. 4. Minimum stay of more than 24 hours away from home and less than a year, a maximum. 5. Foreign journey may not have an impact on the permanent status and working purposes. 6. Daily cruise ship passengers should accepted as tourists even less than 24 hours. 8. Tourism 7. 3, 6, 7. Tourism provides economic and social contribution at destination. According to the World Tourism Organization WTO, there are three kinds of tourism. Number 1 is international tourism, 2 is internal tourism, and lastly, number 3 is national tourism. Here's the definition of these three. International tourism consists on inbound tourism and outbound tourism. Inbound tourism is visiting a country by non-resident, and outbound tourism is resident of a country visiting another country. Internal tourism is resident of a country visiting their own country. It is also consists of domestic tourism and inbound tourism. Inbound tourism is the tourism market of accommodation facilities and attraction within a country. National, that's the internal tourism. National tourism. National tourism is internal tourism plus outbound tourism. The resident tourism market for travel agencies are airline companies. Page and Connell, 1994, 66. Some of the key terms used to define tourism. Number 1, Traveler, visitor, or tourist. Term used to describe a person traveling to staying in a place away from the usual environment for more than one night but less than 1 year for leisure, businesses, and other purposes. Number two, international tourism. Travel between countries by various modes of travel for the purpose of tourism. This can be subdivided of follows. Number three, long haul. Travel which involves a long distance over 1,000 miles or 1,610 kilometers, for example, between continents. Number 4, short haul. Travel between countries which involve shorter distances or travel time is 250 to or 1,000 miles or 400 kilometers to 1,610 kilometers. Number 5, inbound. Visit to a country by non-resident. Importance of overseas currency. Number 6. Domestic tourism. Internal travel is inbound tourism in total. Number 7. Excursionists or same-day visitors. Visitors have begin and end their visit from the same base within 24 hours period. The tourist, the tourist destination region. In the ultimate place where a tourist traveling to at the destination, all the planning and management strategy are implemented. The transit region does not represent the short period of travel tourist destination, but also include the intermediate places which may be visited en route. There is always an interval in the trip when the traveler feels they have not yet arrived where they choose to visit. Tourism sector. The third element of labor's models is the tourism sector. This is the range of business and organization involved in delivering the tourism products. In Labor's model, travel agency and the tour operators are mostly found in the traveler generating region. Hospitality industry and attraction are found in the destination region. The transit route region is largely represented by the transport industry. We can see from Lipper's model that tourism may be thought of as a full range of individuals, businesses, organizations, and places which combine in some way to deliver a travel experience. Tourism in multi-dimensional, multifaceted activity which touch many lives and many different economic activities. Tourism and travel. Tourism and travel terms are often used in place of each other in published books and articles. However, there is no absolute line between travel and tourism, and both are confused with each other. Some would argue that travel is part of tourism. Others would say travel is the key component of tourism. Both are involved in temporary leave of people from their residence and environment for the purpose of vacation, family, friend visit, and so on, and it needs a deep research study. The problem with these definitions is that they would include non-touristic activity because of the notion of movements away from normal place of residence. Tourism is an activity which is be enjoyable or interesting for those involved and may also include accommodation, activities, and attraction, which cover all elements of tourism, hospitality, event, and leisure. Travel, however, encompasses tour operation and tour packages. Robinson 2009 and 5. In normal usage, tourism and travel are terms that related to exactly the same market and they are used interchangeably. It is important to note that tourism and travel is a symbiotic relationship. In short, tourism is a part of travel, but not all travel is tourism. Travel and tourism are used in place of each other. Middleton 2008. People travel for many reasons. For example, an individual movement from one place to another might be to meet family or friends for a short while for healthcare. Again, a person may travel to attend a wedding ceremony, illness, or death reason. Even a person can travel to a region to set up business. There may be many more reasons to travel, but these activities have nothing to do with tourism. When we look at the concept of international tourism, it is related to a macroeconomy and the country or region. Travel should be connected with spending and adding value to the visiting country or region. Except the taxes paid by the residents in a country or region, the visitor should provide financial support. Although the United States is inclined to use the same meaning for both terms, in reality, these two terms are widely accepted when they are examined in the following three headings. These are movements of people, the impact of economy or tourism industry, and the general system of interaction between the need to travel outside the environment and the business environment in the people live and the supply of tourism product and service that respond to their needs. From this point on, the complexities of tourism and travel concept can examine. The concept of tourism refers to a broad framework of ideas that define the main characteristic often distinguished from different phenomena. When examining the development of tourism terms in historical context, may tourism authorities look at the scientific perspective from the point of view of the difficulties due to differences in the technical description of tourism. For example, this suggests the standard definition or interpretation of the tourism concept influenced by geographical, economic, political, sociological approach and explanation should be made by examining all these aspects. First of all, in both tourism and travel, movement of people is necessary. A person can be benefit from all kinds of transportation when traveling. He or she may travel by his or her car and stop at any place on the way. The main criteria in tourism is staying, eating and drinking, shopping, sightseeing, etc. at the destination. The short is tourism and travel are used interchangeably. Individual travel to all sorts of places. However, tourism covers relatively longer duration of time, has recreation and tourism potential such as visiting museums, national parks, and joining activities. Definition of tourist. Tourist, a new term, first appeared to be an English word in the early 18th, which, while the concept of tourism was first written in a magazine called Sporting Magazine in 1811, published in England's May 2004. Tourist, in the very simple words, a person who is traveling or visiting a place for pleasure. A tourist is an actor of the tourism system. According to International Recommendation for a Tourist Statistic 2008, Chapter 2.13, published by United Nations, tourists who were classified as temporary visitors staying at least 24 hours whose purpose could be categorized as leisure. The purpose can be a recreation, health, sport, holiday, study, region, or businesses, family, mission, or meeting. Tourist type of features. Tourist type and features. The result of tourism vary according to the region visited. In addition to providing benefits to the destination, tourism can also have negative impact and destructive effects. Examination of result is not only to be looked at in terms of destination, but also the characteristic structure of its tourist should be taken into consideration by the operators. In the past, tourists were stereo- tourists were stereotyped as wealthy, boorish, and high-spending people. However, due to mass tourism of today, the number of tourists increase, and this tourist profile may bring benefit as well as harm to the destination. Demand side and supply side of tourism. As it is understood from different definitions of tourism above, geographers and sociologists are also fully involved in the definition with two main aspects. Tourism has mobility and it meets the consumption needs. In order to meet consumption needs, there are two elements, supply and demand. Until the 1990s, tourism was being looked only in terms of demand side. Not much attention was given to supply side, but from 90s onward, it began to be looked at from both sides. Consumers have become increasingly sophisticated and selective by taking advantage of advanced technological opportunities when ICT and internet entered in our daily lives and living standards were also increased significantly. Consumer became more sophisticated and requested reasonable prices, high level or service, and became selective. The demand and tourists have changed, and time became more important. Their relation with tour operators and travel agency changed direction towards owning system, result of experiencing high level of service and also because of standard of living which improved considerably. Thus they enjoy advanced facilities in their everyday environment. Tourists became more demanding, requesting highly quality product and value for their money. Perhaps more importantly, value for time for the entire range of their dealings with different organizations. This reflects people's shortage of time, especially in Western countries. Time-carrying, experienced, sophisticated, and demanding customers have begun to take advantage of the electronic media in order to reach quick information in their choice of travel destination. Buhalis 2003-110. Development of information and communication technology (ICT) have revolutionized both the preferences of customer and flexibility to offer suppliers of tourism products and services. Demand side of tourism. Demand is defined differently according to aspect of the issue. According to economists, demand is an action of people who have the desire to buy, who have the power to choose any product or service from different prices over a certain period of time. On the other hand, psychologists have evaluated from the perspective of motivational and behavioral perspective. According to the geographers, demand is number of people who have enough income to afford the desire of the travel, use tourist attraction and services away from their usual environment. Mattison and Wall 1982 to 661. 61. Tourism demand refer to the willingness and ability of customer to buy a tourism product during any period of time. The demand for any tourism product or service are influenced by different prices and non-prices factors such as advertising and promotion, seasonally, staying period, and so on. Dyer 2004-42. Each definition has its share of truth from its own point of view. The economic offer presents the idea of flexibility, which defines the relationship between demand and price or other variables. The definition of geographers is in the sense that there is wide spectrum of influence in addition to the width which is determined in the demand. Demand types. Three basic components that make up the total demand for tourism are Cooper 2012-272. This basic effective or actual demand, suppressed demand, potential demand, no demand, economic factors, social factors, political factors, structural factors, technical factors, stabilization factors, environmental factors, tourist demand, and price relation. The tourism and price relation economic theories suggest that the price tourism demand have an inverse relationship. As the price of tourism product falls, the quantity demanded for it should rise, and as the price rises, the quantity demand should fall. The negative relationship is called the law of demand and is related to the income affected and secondly substitution effect of the buyer. Income effect, substitution effect. The economic impact of tourism and its measurement. The measurement of international tourism activity is often easier to the domestic tourism activity. Countries generally use different methods for tourist arrivals. The majorities of countries base their figures and frontier check, collect information from tourist arrivals at the borders, providing a good source of data relating to the volume of arrivals, country of origin, and purpose to visit. Cooper, 2008, 1, 2, and 9. Some countries use the arrival at the hotel or origin and purpose. Some countries use the arrivals at hotel or hotel plus other forms of accommodation as the source. Another way is currency exchange. Information of tourists are collected and monitored by central bank for statistic. In general terms, a tourist is a visitor staying at a destination more than 24 hours but less than 12 months. Some countries do not consider stopover visitor as tourists. As a result, very complex results are obtained during the identification of tourist numbers. In the old days, head count from disembarkation cards was the most commonly used method. This card was prescribed by the ICAO and contained the information like nationality, country, residence, age, group, and occupation. How much those information were reliable. The economic effect of tourist presence at destination arises from the fact that they spend money on a wide variety of goods and services. These expenditures can be seen as the injection into host country. Foreign tourists exchange their local currency to pay their expenses as destination. Today, information and communication technology (ICT) are used almost every country of the world for tourist arrivals. So, automated passport control (APC) that expedites the entry process and obtain all necessary statistical data of the arriving passenger. The distinction between tourist, visitor, and excursionist can be discovered. Tourism Satellite Account (TSA), developed by United Nations or UN, that measure the size of economic data related to tourists within a framework of internal and external consistency with the rest of statistical system through its link to the system of national account. It is the basic reconciliation framework between demand and supply for tourism statistics, and UNWTO Statistic and Tourism Satellite Account Program is committed to developing tourism measurement for furthering knowledge of the sector, monitoring progress, evaluating impact, promoting result-focused management, and highlighting strategy issue for policy objectives. The United Nations (UN), the World Tourism Organization (WTO), in 1991 agreed to strive for maximum cooperation and together recommended the distinction between basic concept and definition in order to develop statistical data collection and tourism concept. In 1993, the proposal, one revised and refined, were submitted for approval the United Nations Statistical Commission at its 27th session, jointly with the Standard International Classification of Tourism Activities (SICTA), which were approved as a provisional classification, and the recommendation of touristic adaptive adopted by the Commission in the 1993 and published in 1994, represented the first international set of recommendations designed to determine the basic foundation of a system of tourism, statistics in terms and concept definition, classification, and indicators. Below are definition of travel and tourism according to World Tourism Organization or UNWTO. Travel refers to the activity of travelers, and traveler is someone who moves between different geographic locations for any purpose or any duration. Travel within country by resident is called domestic travel. Travel to country by non-resident is called inbound travel, whereas travel outside any country by resident is called outbound travel. Those who undertake travel via domestic inbound or outbound will be called domestic inbound or outbound travelers respectively. A trip refers to a travel by a person from the time of departure from his usual residence until he/she returns, thus referred to a round trip. A trip is a made up visit to different places. An inbound trip corresponds to the travel between arriving in a country and leaving, whereas a domestic trip and outbound trip will correspond to the travel between leaving the place of residence and returning. A domestic trip has main destination in the country of residence of the traveler, while the outbound trip has main destination outside this country. A visitor is traveling taking trip to a main destination outside his or her usual environment for less than a year for any main purposes, businesses, leisure, or other personal purpose, other than to employ by the resident entity in the country or place visit. These trips taken by visitor qualified as tourism trips. Tourism refers to activity of visitors. A domestic inbound or outbound traveler on a tourism trip is called a domestic inbound or outbound visitor respectively. Furthermore, the travel of domestic inbound or outbound visitor is called domestic inbound or outbound tourism respectively. Those who undertake travel by its domestic inbound and outbound will call domestic inbound or outbound travel respectively. Tourism is therefore a subset of travel and visitor are a subset of travels. These distinctions are crucial for the compilation of the data on the flows of travelers, visitors, or for the credibility of tourism statistics. A visitor, domestic, inbound, or outbound, is classified as a tourism overnight visitor, or his or her trip includes overnight stay, or a same-day visitor, or excursions, otherwise UNWTO 2008. Classification of inbound travelers. Some countries leave to the respondent to decide whether a trip is not taken qualifies as a tourism trip. However, in order to ensure comparability between responses within the country and over time, it is recommended that national statistical offices, tourism authorities, and or other organizations with direct responsibility for tourism statistics be encouraged to establish national criteria to operationalize the concept of usual environment. Because the measurement of flows of visitor are all associated variables are highly sensitive to the definition of the usual environment. It is the further recommended the neighboring countries or belonging national organizations consult with each other in the order of ensure compilation of comparable statistics. These different hinder the development of a unique worldwide statistical determination of the usual environment of an individual. Nevertheless, worldwide statistic determination of the usual environment of the individual, nevertheless, and determination of the usual environment should be based on the following criteria: frequency in the trip, except for the visitation zone, duration of the trip, crossing administrative or nation borders, distance from the place of usual residence. Below figure illustrate the different categories of visitor and other travelers which can be identified international borders upon arrival. Some of them are non-resident. First block are some resident. Second block, finally nomads and refugees, and the special status are treated separately. Main aim of tourism statistics is to identify visitors from other subjects of travelers. For this purpose, some categories of non-resident travelers are especially relevant for compilers and for analysis. They are national residing abroad, transit passenger, crew, cruise ship passenger, and yachters, frequent borders crossers, student, patient, business, and professional visitor. If we look at the above categories one by one, national residing abroad, some people are residing in another country for more than a year, and in the fact that they are not citizen for a country they reside. On the other hand, they, according to our view, in case they have the source of income from their home land and spend this income in the resident country, like retired people, they might be considered as a tourist transit passenger. According to our view, those who do not stay overnight in the visited country and joining the city tour and do some spending should be considered tourists. Crew, cruise ship, passenger, and yachters. Some countries do not consider cruise passenger as tourists due to they do not spend overnight in the hotels, but in fact, there is a severe competition among the countries to accept cruise ship because they are in a large number spend money for shopping. Frequent border crosser for countries having a land border and where, for a variety of reasons, people cross the border for family visit, work opportunities, shopping, etc. As long as these people spend money, they should be considered tourists. Student, those taking short-term courses less than 1 year or long-term courses 1 year or more, as long as the payment is considered from their home country, and those students spend money should be considered tourists. Patient, according to view of patient expenditure and paid from the home country, regardless of the period of stay in that country, they should be considered tourists. Countries like the United States can big amount of money from patient treatment tourism. Business and professional visitor. Some same thing in considered for the category. The length of stay in this group of people is not important. What matter is that what they bring to the country or of the resident in monetary terms. Tourism satellite account. The Tourism Satellite Account (TSA) is a popular method of measuring the direct contribution of tourism assumption to a national economy. It is a standard statistical framework and main tool for the economic measurement of tourism. A tourism satellite account integrates data about the supply and use of tourism-related goods and services into a single format. This methodology was approved and adopted by the United Nations (UN) and the World Tourism Organization (UNWTO) in the year of 2000. The TSA tools allow for the harmonization and reconciliation of tourism statistics from an economic national accounts perspective that enables the generation of tourist economic data such as tourist direct GDP that is comparable with the economic statistic Cooper 2008 1342135. Tourism is demand side. A phenomenon refers to activity of visitor and their role in the acquisitions of goods and service. It can also be viewed from the supply side, and tourism will then be understood as a set of productive activities that cater mainly to visitor. A visitor is a traveler taking a trip to a destination outside his or her usual environment for less than a year for any main purpose, business, leisure, other personal purpose, other than to be employed by a resident entity in the country or place visited. Every country has a different classification that can be used in the analysis of tourism. According to the recommended methodological framework agreed in 2008, on the basis of these recommendations, countries are encouraged to develop the tourism statistic according to the following guidelines. Estimate. Number one, estimates should be based in reliable statistical sources where visitors and producers of goods and services are both observed. Number 2, observation should be statistical in character and produced on an ongoing basis, combining the compilation and benchmark is estimation with the use of indicators to enhance the usefulness of the result. Number 3, data should be comparable over time within the same country, comparable among countries, and comparable with the other fields of economic activities. And number 4 is data should be internally consistent, represented with the macroeconomic frameworks recognized at the same international level. Good morning everyone, my name is Marian P. Cervantes and I am BSTM 3B and here's my reflection. In the travel agency sector, key components like client services, itinerary planning, marketing, and operation management are essential for ensuring customer satisfaction and efficiency. Agencies need to adapt to changing trends and technology to create memorable travel experience. In tourism and hospitality, providing exceptional services is vital for guest satisfaction and loyalty. Key elements include staff training, attention to detail, and effective communication to meet guest needs and build positive relationship. For recruitment in the hospitality industry, effective strategies are crucial to attract and retain talent. These strategies should highlight the importance of customer services and foster the positive workplace culture. Investing in employee training, enhance service quality and operational efficiency, comprehensive training programs equip staff with both technical and soft skill, promoting continuous improvement. And lastly, employee discipline is important for maintaining a respectful work environment, especially in hospitality. Clear policies help build trust and improve service delivery. So, sinasabi po dito na talagang importante ang bawat part ng travel at hospitality industry. Ang pagkakaroon ng maayos na itinerary has a big factor para maging memorable ang experience nila. Ang training at development ng mga employees ay dapat talaga unahin para ma-sustain ang quality ng service. And sa recruitment naman ay dapat mas malalim ang pag-unawa or understanding sa skills na hinahanap. Dahil ang hospitality ay about sa customer service. At dapat kahit gaano kakaganda ang serbisyo kung walang disiplina sa empleyado, babagsak ang reputasyon ng business. So, dapat talaga magkaroon tayo ng isang pakikisama at kung paano natin i-handle yung pakikisama mo sa empleyado. And so, sa huli, ang lahat ng ito ay nagtutulungan para makabuo ng magandang experience para sa mga guests at para masatisfy sila and maabot natin yung expectation nila. Tama lang napahalagahan natin ang bawat bahagi para maging maayos ang operasyon at makapagbigay ng magandang serbisyo. Ang pinakaunang-unang kailangan po natin dito is yung service na ibinibigay natin sa mga guests. Thank you. Chapter 3. Sectoral Structure, Function, and Rules of Travel Operators. Introduction. The main function of tourism industry is to satisfy customer changing needs and requirements. Therefore, for customer demand, the tourism product and services should be designed as tourism is called a smokeless industry and unlike other industrial products, it has not its own entity or a single item, but it is combination of different products and services. Each of the component of a tourist product is supplied by individual providers of services. A tourism product is a combination of different components, and each of components like transportation, accommodation, food and beverage, transfers, tours, entertainment, and other required services like insurance, bank, shopping, and etc. are designed for customer satisfaction. As the tourism products are mainly the tourist experience, they can be shorted only in the tourist memories. The dynamic of competitive industry requires different organization linked the tourism supply to the source of demand. In tourism, first supply is provided by producers and demand is created by an intensive marketing effort of travel agencies and tour operators. Hereinafter referred to travel operators and through other intermediaries distribution channels. In this chapter, the position, roles, and function of travel operators in the tourism industry, as well as the distinguished characteristic of other tourism partners and their interactions and the reflection of online system have been emphasized. Sectorial structure of tourism industry. The tourism industry is based on many different components and interrelated parts. Tourism products and services are offered to the customer in a structure composed of a combination of different tourism sectors within the tourism industry. This network of sector in tourism industry is shown in the below figure. Figure 1. Sectoral structure of tourism industry hallway 2009-165. As illustrated in above figure 1, the tourism industry is based primarily on three service sectors. The three is 1. Accommodation, 2 is transportation, and lastly, attraction. So in the tourism industry, three main service sectors that complement each other. However, in addition to these three main elements, private and public sector are supporting the full tourism structure. Beyond all, an organization is needed to sell these three service sectors. The coordination between these three main service sectors is carried out by the travel operators. Thus, travel operators are the principal component of tourism and travel industry. In tourism industry, one of the main role of travel operators is to bring together buyers and sellers. Sales involve the distribution of tourism products to the customer through retail travel agency and tour operators. The sales are especially important in tourism because the customer and the service are geographically separated. Travel operators should provide a service that adds values for the customer. A travel operator may negotiate with an airline or hotel for special rate or conditions. Macroeconomic contribution of travel operators. Tourism has been named smokeless industry because unlike other industries, which are generally created pollution or smoke, tourism is non-polluting. Travel operators are the major players of tourism industry and constitute an indispensable position for the country's economic life, especially their contribution to international tourism industry or subsidiary to foreign exchange earning for the country. They indirectly contribute to international tourist income which help greatly to the development of the country's economy. 2008. Macro impacts of travel operators on the country economy are stimulating economic growth, generating foreign exchange. They are important economic instrument in the closure of foreign trade deficits, creating new job and employment opportunities, increases regional development, particularly in isolated area, the provision of new infrastructure which is available for non-tourism uses, stimulating regional development, promoting cultural awareness, and also help to preserve local culture and tradition. Promoting cultural awareness and also help to preserve local culture and tradition. Protection of natural attraction. Development and improvement of infrastructure facilities such as airport, road, water supply, and other public utilities. Benefits to underdeveloped regions of a country and bring a lot of prosperity to the local people. Supporting to preserve cultural heritage. That's the macro impact of travel operators in the country economy. So next, travel operators are the most important actor of tourism and play incontrovertible role in promoting international goodwill. They create awareness and appreciation of other countries' culture and tradition and makes possible cultural exchange and enrichment. Their efforts can greatly enrich the promote friendship among different countries in the world. In tourism and travel industry, there is always a question about the difference between tour operator and travel agency, and both terms are industry jargon. Although there is a certain difference between the two terms, they are constantly intertwined with each other as activity areas. Tour operators. The tour operators are essentially wholesalers and tour organizers that purchase services from the suppliers in large quantities and break these into individual parts to sell to consumers. They are the most important and closest partners to tourism suppliers. The main activity of the tour operators is to combine activities such as travel, accommodation, food and beverage, tour arrangement, and etc. in a single travel package and to present them to the final consumer through direct and retail travel agencies in order to create a package wholesale operators and pursuing a strategy of reducing costs and collecting competitive advantage by collective purchasing. W 99 to 107. A tour operator that thinks up and design the holiday ideas and contracts with service providers are combines products and services in a package. Tour operators develop packages either to promote and sell or transfer packages to travel agency for their subsequent sale to customers. They take full responsibility for the package and created and cover a liability that consumers get their money back in a tour operator fails. Their position in the tourism distribution system is shown in below figure 2. Tour operators definition. According to the World Tourism Organization or UNWTO definition, tour operator is a business that combines two or more travel service, transport, accommodations, meals, entertainment, sightseeing, and sell them to travel agency or directly to final customer as a single product called a package tour. For a global price, tour operators usually operate in their own name and on their own account. The operator initially acquires from the tourist producer different services, which are combined and offered as a single complex product to customer either directly or through travel agencies. The tour operator puts himself at risk with the providers of the services included within the package tour. Eurostat 2001. Definition of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development or OECD for the tour operator. Businesses that combine two or more travel services, transport accommodation, meals, entertainment, sightseeing, and sell them through travel agencies or directly to final consumer as a single product, called as a package tour. For a global price, the components of a package tour might be pre-established or can result from a la carte produce in which each visitor decides the combination of services he/she wishes to acquire. OECD 2001-46. Different definition of tour operators with slight difference actually have very similar meanings. Some of the other examples are: tour operators are divided into two main activities group, namely sender or outbound operators, which are organized tour abroad, and receivers or inbound tour operators, organized tours for tourists coming from abroad. G. 1990. The package prepared by the tour operators includes accommodation, transportation, food and entertainment. Tour operators sell their product packages directly themselves or through retail travel agents. Lee Cutler, 2009. A tour operators combine the inputs of accommodation, transportation, leisure, food and beverage, and entertainment activities into a single, take-all risk and output either directly itself or distribute through travel agencies. The principal activity of tour operators consists of the preparation of distribution of complete tourism product by means of fusion and combination of the components, and this usually includes travel, accommodation, meal and guided tours or excursions. For this reason, the large wholesalers buy some of the components of the products in large quantities, fundamental airline seats and lodgings. Moutinho, 2010, 146. In our opinion, the in the traditional classical and modern approach concept, tour operators by Jack Y. G., Kevin B. Barber, Dexter J. L. Choi, James C. Mykens, Professional Travel Agency Management, Patient Hall and Bass, New Jersey, 1990-50. Pauline Harner, Travel Agency Practices Education, Basim, Edinburgh, 1996-159. Chris Cooper, Jen Fletcher, Alain Feifel, David Gilbert, Stephen Van Hill, Tourism Principle and Practice Hall, Edinburgh, 2009-390. Taking a risk for taking a risk from a essential bridge between travel suppliers and consumers combine different components as a single package and promote and sell this package directly or through travel agencies. In doing this task, they buy each component from different suppliers or combine them into a single package and offer to the tourism market. These packages are generally called the inclusive tour, which meet customer needs. The tour operators are securing considerably good discount from the supplier, which are not possible for the customer if they buy directly. Mango, 2008, 103. Tour operators types. Domestic tour operators, outbound tour operators, inbound tour operators or incoming tour operators, destination management company DMC. Tour operators function. According to Luis Montinho, the function of tour operators Montinho 2010 141 to 143 to mediate between buyers and seller in advance on or on the spot purchase and provide commissions for the service. Preparing tour packages, provide information and advice to final customer. Other functions can be added above, such as sale and marketing, reservation, travel management, or tour operator should manage tour from beginning to the end of the tour. Travel care of customer complaints. A tour operator is responsible for a actual arrangement and transportation and accommodation facilities in any tour or vacation. They are also responsible for operating and providing vacation through contracting, booking, and packaging together of a various components of the tour such as hotel, transportation, foods, um, food and beverage, food and beverage, the tour, such as hotel, transportation, meals, guides, optional tours, and sometimes flight. The tour operators gain favorable price advantages through large volume purchasing and increase the bargaining power of in the sector. Tour operators are divided into three categories such as large, medium, and small according to the services that they provide. Major tour operators are specialized in mass tourism such as back-to-back and charter operators, active in more countries and offering a wide range of products. Small and medium-sized tour operators are specialized in specific market and offering a limited range of products, often prepared by private and VIP customers. Large tour operators pay attention to product costs and want to increase their market share with attractive prices. The most important function of the tour operators are planning a tour. Tour operators plan a tour and make tour itinerary which contains the identification of the origin, destination, and all the stopping point in a traveler's tour. Preparation of a tour package requires careful planning, preparation, and coordination. The impact of operational management on the overall strategic direction of the operating company will be considered. Due to the characteristic and intangible structure of tourism, the price are right timing and essential. These packages, their shape and size should be prepared in the state of feeling and attitude of customers. Bring together all the elements in a single package by the tour operators that cause each organization to gain value in tourism and travel industry. Unless the advantage of the changes in travel industry demands are quickly exploited, it is unlikely to be successful in an environment where supply and demand are rarely balanced. Neither supply can be increased nor can demand be changed in pre-made contracts in short period of times. In addition, it is quite difficult to adjust the capacities of hotel and airline in a short-term vacation quite difficult to adjust such as Eid holidays, Christmas, Easter, in a harmony with the operator packages. Tour operators should be prepared and find alternative solutions. First, they should be healthy for foresight studies about changeable market volume with the capacity planning, the effective market strategy, the actual and accurate number of tour participation, and booking at the destination, which will be decided after the tour program is made. Discussion for rooms with the hotel and seat with the airline starts. Tour operators benefit from significant number of discount through special and inclusive events agreements with service providers, hotel, restaurant, entertainment, venues, etc. During high season, tour operator can either do seat blockage or schedule flights. A charter on aircraft. Thus, the transportation cost can be minimized and included in the package. Wholesale purchasing method provides significant cost and price advantage in creating package to tour operators. Page and Cornell, 2009 to 147. Operation management is concerned with the design and control of transportation system to deliver the services, including products of an organization at the right quality of the right place, the right time. In the system, different people see differently. For instance, within a travel company, an employee sees the company as a work provision system. However, the CEO of the company sees it as a profit generating system. Customer looks at the subject from a much different perspective and sees a recreation system. It is a very complex system. Each of these individuals will place the emphasis of their interest in the way specified, and each will define a different boundary for a system. A shown in below figure. The bosses and top managers will draw their system boundaries at the biggest circle. Junior managers draw their perspective at the limit of their department, so the greater needs stay a higher level. Montijo, 2010, page 180 to 184. The advantage of airline working tour operators. The scheduled airlines have to obey the standard time of departure. For example, if there are some unsold slots in a flight when an aircraft takes off, the opportunity to sell empty seats are lost. This means commercial airline company is losing revenue for empty seats. Providing full occupancy of seat means maximizing profit. Airline companies for their scheduled flights are helping airlines to fill their empty seats, and in return the airlines can offer substantial discount on the block seat reserved by the tour operator. Let's say that for an airline, in order to fly at a profit, need to fill empty 20 seats with USD $800. It means may amount above USD 40 per head in profit. Airline wishes to sell those seats for USD 50 each dollar. On the other hand, tour operator wants the lowest price possible, and they negotiate. Finally, they reach a conclusion and agree to $45 per seat. The tour operator is satisfied by agreeing purchase in bulk, and airline will fly and profit. It means both parties are happy. Not only group bookings on scheduled flights, but tour operators also request charter flights on the specific period of time from airlines. As an example, during high season special days like Easter, New Year, school, semester tour, charter aircraft for airlines. Tour operators charter the entire aircraft and take all the risks. Let's say the tour operator rents Boeing 757 type of aircraft with 240 seats. However, there is no guarantee to sell all seats. Despite all effort and communication with potential customer, they may be still unfilled. Scots. In the negative case of tour operators contact with other collaborative tour operators and or travel agency in order to fill the empty seat, they sometimes sell below cost, so it is beneficial for airlines to work closely with the tour operators and fill their empty seats. The advantage of hotel working with tour operators. Same as airline, hoteliers are also benefiting from tour operators in order to fill their unsold rooms. In the hotel rooms are not sold on the same day, they cannot be transferred to the next day. In the nutshell, hotel managers have to work hard to sell all the existing rooms due to high fixed and variable operating costs. The hotel offer very affordable and competitive rates to tour operators to reach the break-even point. I and like the airlines, hotel have recovered their fixed and variable operating costs, and then each penny gain will be profit. In addition, any extra expenses made by customer, dining, minibar, dry cleaning, etc., will provide an additional income for the hotel. Those profits from extra services will compensate the low room rates, which were provided to the tour operator depending the agreement reached between parties. Tour operator not only use hotel room for peak season or special days, but they may agree on all year round. This especially help seasonal operating hotels like seaside hotels to operate all year around without closing during low season. So at least maintenance of the hotel and permanent staff salaries are provided. If the price of the hotel is attractive to the tour operator and the hotel management, the contract is made of for a certain period of time, like the summer season, or can be applied during the day of season period in order to attract the customer. This scans that the hotel continues. This means that the hotel continues its activities all year round. So the airline industry and hotel definitely need tour operators in order to fill the capacity. The wholesalers and the tour operators. Understanding tour operating mechanism more, we should distinguish same characteristic between tour wholesalers and tour operators. Chap 2002, page 48 to 50. In the general, there is confusion about the similarity between tour and wholesaler and tour operators in the tourism industry. Some tourism authorities argue that both tour wholesaler and tour operators act the same. However, other tourism authorities state that tour wholesaler and are different for tour operators. In our opinion, we can say that the second option is more accurate as a use in practice. Tour operators may sell directly to travel upon arrival and their destination or market their tours through retail travel agencies, while tour wholesalers do not deal directly with consumers. Tour wholesalers presumably sell nothing to retail, with tour operators often do. Tour operators provide ground handling services such as tour transfers, but tour wholesalers but not provide ground services. Tour wholesalers are operate the tours they offer, and they may contract with tour operators for the whole tour or only certain land arrangement. Tour wholesalers usually combine and contract for existing services to produce new packages, whereas tour operators usually create new products. Tour wholesalers are less inclined than tour operators to perform local ground services at destination. Tour wholesalers can be categorized into different classes. Chapter 2002, page 48 of the National Full Services Wholesalers. Limited product or in-house national wholesalers, specialty wholesalers, national full service wholesalers. National active wholesalers offer a large range of product and cover more markets than the other classes of wholesalers. Specialized in-house wholesalers work continuously with suppliers such as airlines, hotel chains, and car rental companies, and add their products into their tour packages. Specialized tour operators usually offer one product which is designed to suit the taste of specific market segments such as trekking, driving, bicycle tours, and etc. Tour sailors and tour operators are always in challenge by offering flexible tour packages that can be sustainable to individuals and retail travel agencies' needs. According to their sustainability in the market, the tour operators generally have a considerable negotiation power and advantage due to large purchasing. Some of the wholesalers create business groups with specific tour operators, airline companies, and hotels. Some of the tour operators dominating European tourism market are TUI Germany, Thomas Cook Germany. They have combined market share of 20%, County, Switzerland, LTU, Touristic Germany Club, MED, France. Travel agencies. As we mentioned above, the core tourism element are transportation, accommodation, and attraction. Distribution from place aspect to the classic purpose of the marketing mix Cooper 2012, 900, 109, 19.5, 195. Distribution is critical because the consumer tourist is physically distant from the tourism product itself. In the tourism distribution system, tour operators and travel agencies are the intermediaries in supply to demand, producer and consumer. Tour operators are wholesalers in the system, but travel agency is one of the most important organizations in the tourism industry, which plays vital and crucial role in the entire process of developing and promoting tourism. Today, people can make their travel program themselves by taking advantage of the internet. However, the need of travel agency had arisen because travel, especially in foreign countries, was complicated and various components of a trip have to be laboriously assembled and to suit the requirement of the customer. A successful travel cannot be operated with the help of travel agency. Moreover, the travel agents are helping the tourists in the fields. Competition compels tourism firms to look for their niche by adapting to real demand, taking into account and two different customer needs as individuals or group. The main task of travel agency is to supply the public with travel services, potential visitors when planning, and the service of travel agency. Their function consists mainly in selling the right to use a certain supplier such as hotel, restaurants, transportation companies, car rental, and the other travel service providers. Travel agency can be a small independent in-house agency serving in residential area, concentrating on leisure travel, or with a number of offices in a city or a region concentrating leisure, business, and other specialized services, or national travel agency with several offices throughout a country dealing with manifold activities. On top of all those categories, there are multinational travel agencies serving with their worldwide offices. They do not substitute the service providing unit, but play the role of promoting information and access to the visitor and are middleman in purchase of certain services. The working condition and function of travel agency vary in every country and regulated by the law and regulation applicable in each country. Most of the agencies work independently and sell like travel tickets, local tours, rent a car, accommodation, attraction tickets like a broker, and they receive certain commission on each sale. Some others become more involved in the tour operation sides of travel, organizing tours or selling cruises. So basically, travel agency can be in the two categories. Intermediary travel agency, organizing travel agency. In the system, other way of categorization is wholesale travel agency, retail travel agency. Wholesale travel agency are generally skilled agency who specialize in organizing tours and then selling them to retail travel agencies. Retail travel agencies after request service either direct or and buy from the tour operators such as holiday packages, travel accommodation, tour and so on and sell to an individual customer as FIT of for groups and tour packages. Retail travel agencies sell travel services directly to the consumer. Some of the service provided by the travel agency. Organization tool transfers, hotel reservation, business travel, information, miles, rent car, ticket sale, transport companies, ticket sales for attractiveness, health insurance, to sell travel products, marketing, complaint, promotion activities, tourism development activities, tourism and travel trade shows, fair exhibition, being innovative, motivation, create alternative prices, create special prices, consulting services, emerging technological pace up activity. The travel agency in Turkey. The law concerning the travel agency is the Association of Travel Agency give the definition of travel agency including the services which can be offered by them. The regulation pertaining to travel agency prepared in accordance with the law 1618 effective as of 4.09.1996 contains in further details of inclusive services of travel agencies as well as the service rendered by them. The regulation specify the inclusive services of travel information organization, congresses, and conferences, renting out individual vehicle for tour purposes, selling tickets for transport vehicles, selling the product of travel agency. In accordance with law of number 1618, travel agencies are established upon the issue of an operation licensed by the Ministry of Tourism and they obligate to become member of the Association of Turkish Travel Agencies. Difference between tour operators and travel agencies. People travel for various reasons. Most of the people have traveled for giving break into their routine life, like a bustling cities, work pressure, company with every problems, for cost stress, while some people travel for pleasure, others may travel for business. For whatever reason, traveling is one of the most common activities for people. Although people can make travel arrangements themselves, sometimes there is need to be some guidance. Therefore, travel agency or tour operators provide all necessary guidance and service. It few differences and they have their specific job. The tasks of each ones have already been explained and abused in the above section. Tourism distribution channels. 1 level distribution channel, 2 level distribution channel, 3 distribution channel. Distribution channel and travel agencies. The technical development in tourism industry, computer reservation system or CRS. Global Distribution System GDS. In the 1980s, Global Distribution System GDS was introduced. GDS is simply the emergence of different CRS in the world due to high demand of the system used in the wholesale world CRS businesses. Global Distribution System or the GDS. In the 1980s, Global Distribution System or the GDS was introduced. GDS is simply the emergence of different CRS in the world's Due to high demand of system used in the whole world, CRS owners began to open up their system to other businesses, which led to integration of various CRS in one system. GDS offered thereby consolidated and extended tourism products and services to travel operators throughout the world via public and private network or through SITA o the Societe Internationale de Telecommunication Aeronautics. CRS offer international solution for controlling inventory and for demand management. GDS can be characterized as the circulation system of the tourism product in the international market. GDS not only cost less than other distribution system, but they also enable flexible pricing and capacity alteration when tourism businesses faces uncertain demand. There are three major GDS which are Cybre, Amadeus and Travelport, Galileo and WorldSpan. However, different global distribution systems still service a limited number of airlines. As we said earlier, American Airline introduced Sabre. Sabre is very strong in North American market. Today, 400 commercial airlines, more than 425,000 travel agency and tour operators, 175,000 hotels have access to Sabre global distribution system. Amadeus started in 1987 by Air France, Iberia, Lufthansa, and SAS in order to create European GDS and abandon their own DCS system. Starting from 1989, Amadeus connected travel operators to the system, and now it is the largest DDS except North America in the world. Through Amadeus DDS integration, more than 100,000 travel operators can reach 430 airlines in 195 countries and 300,000 hotel properties in the world. Travelport owns both Galileo and WorldSpan. Over 400 commercial airlines around the globe are the partners with Travelport. By using the GDS system, travel operators, hotel, and car rental companies can access the airline's itinerary in real time and assist to their customer. GDS have been serving the tourism and travel industry with reliability, security, speed, and the accuracy. There are also regional GDS such as Sahara, Infini, Japan, Access, Japan, Tapas, Korea, Fantasia, South Pacific, and Abacus, Asia, and Pacific. Without doubt, for many GDS system had very important role in tourism industry and progressively by using the GDS system, travel operators, hotel and car rental companies can access the airline's itinerary in real time and assist to their customer. GDS has been serving the tourism and travel industry with reliability, security, speed, and accuracy. There are also other regional GDS such as Sahara, Infini, Japan, Access Japan, Tapas Korea, Fantasia South Pacific, and Abacus Asia and Pacific. Without doubt, for many years, GDS system had very important role in tourism industry and progressively their function are developed and presented to users. Three important considerations affecting the role of global distribution system. Increasingly use of online travel website or OTAs, airlines and other travel services providers encouraging customers to book directly through their website, and finally, the worldwide spread of internet usage. The internet. The third phase in the internet, which has brought revolutionary change in tourism industry. Together with the internet, another development was the World Wide Web or WW. The www. The terms internet, the World Wide Web, is fact are not synonymous. There are two separate but related things. The internet is a wide network linking unknown number of computer around the world creates a network where any computer can communicate with another computer as long as they are both connected. Whereas the World Wide Web is a way of accessing information over the medium of the internet. It is an information sharing model that is built on the top of internet. Before the emergence of the internet and www, all kinds of information about the destination could only be possible by travel agency or airline stop, or through tourism information centers, or media advertising or radio or a TV broadcasting. The other way to get effective information about the destination was word of mouth communication with friends or family members who had visited in destination before. The arrival of the internet not only revolutionized the distribution of information, but it has also arrival but it also has changed customer behavior. Thanks to the mobile technology today, instead the desktop and computer, we are using mobile devices like smartphones, laptop computers, and tablet computers. We are using devices like smartphones, laptop computers, and tablet personal computers or PCs. Traditional desktop desktop computers had keyboard and mouse, whereas the miniaturized devices have touchscreen interface. With the expansion of wireless networks and the global system of internet, users initially by surfing are able to display all required information on web pages. They are able to communicate by various ways, such as emailing, online chats, blogs, file transfers, file transfer, and streaming media. Mobile communication or the GSM and wireless application a protocol or the WAP allow the communication of voice and other data over mobile phones and PDAs, and the latest development of 3G has enabled the fast transmission of multimedia data. Song 2005-168. Hitherto, travel agency and the tour operators have been the main actors of tourism, but the internet has changed their operations dramatically. As we said above, the technical development in the tourism industry has three phases: CRS, GDS, and the internet. During CRS and GDS phases, travel agency and tours operator indispensable intermediaries. Travel agency and tour operators retain their power over suppliers as the main actors in the first two phases mentioned above. However, the internet has been put into use and to increase in the loyalty of consumer to internet. Traditional or the classic travel agency have been partially forced to serve in a virtual environment. Those other than travel operators that only operate online, offline operators have also emerged in the system. Potential consumer are able to access all kinds of information in terms of price, quality, and other features of travel products without any time and space limitation by the internet. And they are able to receive holiday programs directly with a finger touch. Travel distribution of products and services are rapidly becoming e-commerce. Today, commercial airlines are closing their expensive offices and selling their tickets either via their website and via call centers, thus avoiding to paying commission to the travel agency. Online sales via website allow ultimate passenger to make the flight booking and online check-in themselves and pay for their itineraries through credit card. They may also able to get electronic boarding passes. All flight information can be stored in their mobile device or smartphone. They no more need paper ticket like in the odd old days, and when arriving at the airport, they have easy access through security control. When they board the aircraft, the entire booking is visible on the screen of the airline. Today, not only airline tickets, hotel bookings, cruise line reservation, car rental, and other forms of travel services can be bought online and or by mobile search engines. But also, travel agency and tour operators have improved their website and they introduced user-friendly mobile apps to facilitate online purchase. Effect of the internet on travel operators. Internet, which is the last space of the information and communication technology or the ICT, seriously forced traditional classical travel operators to find new methods and strategies to stay in the business. While being intermediary between travelers and service providers, the internet has become the aid distribution channel and limited the intermediation relation of the traditional travel operators so they can have focus start to the ICT and sell their products and services online conducting consumer via their own website. The best advantage for the customer to book their travel plan by travel operators in the security concern and personal relationship. Most customers want to be in touch with people who show interest to them and facilitate their travel. Here, the human element is very important and they want to build a relationship with the agency staff. This is no choice for them other than the travel agency. It is very difficult for them to search on various websites and to find appropriate travel program. They like to deal with one travel agency to meet their needs and to be taken care of. Consequently, provision of good quality service generate repeatedly cliente tele for travel operators.